Hey guys, it's Ethan. Hopefully, I'm going to interject here in this podcast. Sorry about the audio. Literally, hour and a half working on this dang podcast with this new setup. We didn't realize that the audio was coming from the computer itself instead of the nice microphones that we use every week. So yeah, apologies in advance. I'm going to do my best post editing to fix it all and make it better. But yeah, sorry guys. We did an hour and 7 minutes of a podcast, and here we are. So hopefully you enjoy, and hopefully my editing magic can be enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and germs, we are back. Chat with Gunner, episode 79. 817 subscribers. About less than one month away from hitting the goal target of at least 1,000. We've already hit our hours watched. We're pretty consistent, doing it each week. However, if this comes off a little spotty, sketchy, laggy, any issues, please let us know. We have a new system in here. We switched over from PC to Mac, so we're working out the bugs. Ethan is working hard on it.
We've been here for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, he's literally
just
been
working
doing
on
this
it.
for an hour.
But there is one good thing, I guess, that comes with using the Mac instead of my own very powerful PC, and that's this. Hi. How are you?
There he is.
Yeah. Now you can see me when we go on rants on about Suicide Squad and stuff.
Yeah.
But again, like, this is a new system, and it is full of crappy things that should just work, but they don't. So
All the pros are moving cons. I say pros might be it might not shut down randomly.
yes, that is one good thing.
Cons is might not be able to produce as good of a show.
No. Yeah.
But you get at least the shows we do produce won't be lost.
Yep.
Potential.
Potential. We say that, and then something happens.
No problem.
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
So,
I'm just gonna move this up.
I mean, if you're looking, got my Gary Lamb Black Sheep Project shirt on. So yeah, this weekend I can kind of give you guys some insight on what. Yeah, I watched UFC. Cyril Gahn versus Derek Lewis in Houston for the interim heavyweight championship. Don't understand why there was an interim heavyweight championship when Francis Ngannou just won the belt here a few weeks or months ago. So that one was confusing. I think they could have just had a fight night. I think they were just trying to make a pay-per-view. Derek Lewis's hometown. They were trying to capitalize off of that. Other than that, though, didn't really do much this weekend. I know that I couldn't even honestly tell you what I did on Sunday or Saturday. I can't. I had so much going on. I don't know what happened. I know that Tia worked. So obviously, I know what we did. We went to, I wrestled on Friday.
Yeah.
The Rumble Jack.
How was that?
It was good. And then it was as good as it could be. So here was something I really enjoyed. One thing was Tank made his Southern Honor.
Oh, hell yeah.
The Rev was with him. Dan Wilson, the guy that came in and did the Scary podcast. The Scary Stories.
Oh, yeah.
So he's his manager. He came in. So in the back, I'm usually off by myself, but they were there, so they were around. My old manager, Jeff G. Bailey, was there because he used to manage them as well.
Awesome.
So he was back there with us, and I got to catch up with those guys. I put out a Facebook post last week that said I didn't realize how much those guys motivated, inspired, and kept me on track when I was starting wrestling because I was trying to impress them until they were gone. Them coming back last night or last Friday kind of rejuvenated me in a way, but it's probably only there while they did. So they're back. That was fun. I got to come in and run a couple spots with Tank, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And then there's a wrestler that was in WWF during the Attitude Era. His name was Stevie Richards. I'm not sure if you've heard of him.
I've heard of it. Oh. Sorry.
So, yeah, you go. Stevie Richards. He was in the Rumble Jack also. So I made sure to go into business myself a little bit and to lock horns with him as soon as I got to the ring to get some device, so that was fun to puzzle around with him a little bit. The guy that's done it at the highest level, at a high level. So that was cool. I had to talk to him after the show and get some advice and hear some compliments and stuff. That was a great guy. So did that, and then got home about 1 o'clock. Woke up the next day at about 7:30. Tia had gotten us tickets to go to the outdoor gravity park in Gatlinburg.
That's weird.
Yeah, so we took my niece, my nephew, my niece's boyfriend, Marcus, and went down there and had a good time. So what it is, it's in like a cutout of an old farm.
Okay.
And they have 3 courses. There's these big plastic balls that you get in that have water in them.
Oh.
So the one course is straight down the hill. And if you run the whole way down inside the ball, you get a free run.
Okay.
And the other 2, you can do multiple people in one. It's like pinball coming down the hill. And the other one is you're by yourself, but it's the steepest incline and the hardest bumps.
Okay.
And you can go down by yourself.
Nice.
So each person got to go 3 times. One of the kids went with Marcus each time. So
Yeah.
I didn't do it. But everybody had fun. Then we came home. Tia went to work. I had Marcus tonight. Watched the UFC. Actually fell asleep before the co-main event.
Jeez.
And then Sunday, pretty much didn't do much. But past 2 weeks of work have been pretty busy. Had our interview process, had our hiring process. We actually offered the 3 sales reps that we were going with, and they've all accepted the position. So
Nice.
they start August 30th. So I'm excited for that to happen. So I got about a week left before my life is going to be upside down.
But hopefully it gets easier.
But hopefully it gets easier.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 90-day boot camp of strenuous training, micromanaging, staying on top of people, all the things you don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I also forgot to post the chat with Gunner because it didn't come out that night. It came out the next day.
Yeah, I had some issues when I was uploading it. It just, like YouTube just was not taking any video. I heard not everyone on YouTube, but some certain channels were talking about why is this not working either.
Right.
So yeah, there's a few issues that YouTube was having. There's a lot of platforms right now that are like going through some. I wouldn't say growing pains because they're freaking massive.
Yeah.
But they're going through some changes. It seems like, which is weird.
Fair. So I posted the next day, but I forgot about it.
Okay.
So I posted like pretty much 2 of them.
Yeah. Technically.
But we're 817 subscribers. I honestly think we'll hit 1,000 within the next month.
I hope so.
That's the promise. So from there, I will tell a quick story from last night, and then kind of just jump into pop culture.
Yeah.
So get out of here. So last night, every Wednesday we go eat family dinner.
Cool.
Mom and dad,
Of course.
sister, brother-in-law, all friends. So at the end of it, we did like breakfast for dinner. Marcus is not a huge breakfast guy, but he loves strawberries. So he ate a lot of strawberries.
Awesome.
As we were leaving. And then we went to Taco Bell on the way home. Tina's not a big breakfast person either, so she wanted Taco Bell. Regardless, I ate it. And then Marcus wanted for the first time ever, a strawberry. He wanted the blue raspberry slushy.
Okay.
But the machine was broken.
Oh.
So they had strawberry slushy. And he crushes it before we even get home. Keep in mind, we live 5 minutes from home.
That poor kid.
Yeah, he crushed it.
Oh no,
So,
I know where this is going.
So we get home and funny story. Like we get home and like me and Tia like dick with each other. We kind of dick with each other in the parking lot about something that I just walked on.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then so she goes in the house, kind of leaves me out there with him. I get him in, and then everything settles down a little bit. I take a shower, like a long shower, but that's like my get back.
Yeah.
And then Marcus decides he's ready to take a bath.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, we'll take a bath. Now keep in mind, this is probably let's call this 9:15.
Nice.
I didn't take a long bath because I'm watching TV. She's on her phone.
Yeah.
She don't like scary movies. I've started this scary movie.
Okay.
So I'm watching it, and then he yells for me. He's ready to get out. He comes, lays down. She's ready for him to go to bed. It's like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then he's used to me, so he's usually up.
Yeah.
He's lazy one.
Of course.
Until he passes out. So and then so he wants me on my phone. I tell him he can at the same time as my phone. So he loses shit immediately. And he's okay with a no as long as he doesn't hear yes.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
I've got to start learning timing. I can't just speak before. I'm used to just saying yes, whatever.
You got to look to Tia first and be like,
yeah, I don't. I just go, yeah, buddy. And then she's like, no. And I'm like, and then he'll look at me and say, fine, I don't want to use Mom's phone. I want to use Gunner's phone. And he'll look at me, I'm like, sorry, but so definitely lost his mind. So I was like, okay, check this out. Watching a scary movie. You don't like scary movies. So how about I build you a fort next to me, and you can get under the covers of the fort and watch my phone for 20 minutes. All right, 20 minutes up, bedtime. He hands me the phone. He's cooperating, but now he's whining because he doesn't want to sleep. So of course, he lays there under the covers for a little bit. And it's getting towards the end of the movie, so now I start to pick up a little more channels,
yeah,
a little more
scary. Yeah.
So he can hear it, not a fan of it. He's getting mad. So we turn it off. Turn it off, lay in there. Now he's talking about his tummy's hurting. Keep in mind, this is probably after we float down for a second. This is coming up on around.
Okay.
His tummy's hurting. So I'm like, all right, but it's just go back to sleep. Tummy's hurting. My tummy. He never complained about it.
Okay.
But I'm also thinking it might just be because of the bed yet.
Yeah.
So I woke up and figured it out. That's just one thing.
Yeah.
So I tell him to go to the bathroom. They won't to the try to go to the bathroom. Tummy's still hurting. Come back to the couch. Tummy's still hurting. Now he's crying.
Yeah.
I'm like, he is ready. She's going to the hospital. Overboard, but
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
you know it is. So I'm like, if he throws up or something, we should probably take it. Because I mean, the symptoms of Delta variant. So it's like, is it stomach pain, throw up, stomach ache, diarrhea? It's more a stomach issue than it is a eating.
With a kid his age, you don't want to take any chances.
Sure, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's about to start kindergarten tomorrow.
Yeah.
Why don't you take care of it? So I'm moving around trying to find stuff to leave. We planned on taking to the emergency room.
Yeah.
So we're walking out of the house. Probably it has to be midnight or later. Walking out of the house, and he throws up all over his mom and all over the bottom of the steps.
Oh, jeez.
Mine, I'm noticing this throw up is 100% red and chunks of strawberry.
Well, there you go.
So you got to think about the sugar consumption. He doesn't drink Coke. He does like apple juice, but not a lot of sugar in apple juice. And if he does drink apple juice, he doesn't chug 16 ounces.
No.
So I'm thinking the natural sugar from strawberries, the corn syrup sugar from the strawberry shake,
The icy.
the icy, and he drank it in 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, that kid.
And he wrestled around with me, shook his stomach up, and got in the bath in the water.
Yeah, no, that
came
kid.
back out and got scared.
Man. My stomach is like turning just thinking about it.
So I was thinking, but not thinking clearly. Let's go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
So I hold him in the back of the car, grab the emergency room. I think it was like Park Ridge.
Yeah.
North. So we get there, and we go inside. I sit down and hold him. Mom goes up and checks him in. He kind of looks at me, notices where we're at, and asks me, where are we at? He knows immediately hospital means shots. That's his mindset. Hospital means shots. So he looks at me and he goes, he's on my chest, holding me. He's dead, pretty much. He's not doing anything. He looks up at me. He goes, I think I'm feeling it. And I looked at him and I was like, what do you feel? I go, how do you want to feel? I feel better. And I was like, all right. So I looked at Tia. Says he feels better. Good. She's already filled the paperwork. Everything. She's on her way. And she goes, okay, well, if you're good, let's go back. You're okay? He's like, promise I was not kidding. I promise it's not a joke. It's not a prank. I was really sick. I was like, "What? You threw up?"
Yeah, like
We're not testing you on was this a prank or not.
like
I'm glad you're feeling better.
I remember a couple times where I got like similar, but not like to the hospital. But it was just like, oh wow, that really just helps. I'm not actually sick. Okay.
So if you'd have thrown up at all the rest of the night, we probably went back.
Well, yeah.
But dude, I just think it was a mixture of the like scared adrenaline,
Yeah.
the endorphins,
Yeah.
all the sugar, shaking around, water. It was just a mix of all.
Hindsight being 2020, that it all makes sense. 100%.
So he didn't even wake up today till like yeah.
Oh, this was all last night.
Yeah, man.
Oh God.
Yeah, so when we get back, probably 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
30, and then
That poor kid.
I go straight to bed with him, and then she cleans up, throw
Oh,
up, and comes back into bed. Yeah, I was. Me being sick, or like you being sick, or her being sick, it's like,
Yeah.
I feel bad. Like I know what feeling bad feels like, and I don't want
this
people
week.
to feel bad.
This week, I'm pretty sure I had heat exhaustion because it's been so freaking hot in Chattanooga. I like walked into work and I was just like, Judy, I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but I'm going to try and push through it. I'm not going to just walk out. I'm not going to leave you empty-handed without somebody. And it was a struggle, but I mean, here's my thought process. Unless I'm throwing up, I'm not going anywhere. Unless I'm like running a fever and I feel like I'm contagious, which is coughing, sneezing, all that stuff, I'm not going to go anywhere. If it's just a bad stomach ache, unless it like is a sharp pain usually means something's burst, something's wrong, and you need to go to the hospital. But if it's just like a blunt stomach ache, I'm not going to go anywhere. I don't have insurance.
Dude, what's hilarious is your boy doesn't either.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know it.
Oh, really?
Well, I've always had it.
Yeah.
One, my parents. Two, I would just get it automatically with the lips.
Yeah.
When I came over to work at 12 point, I didn't. I thought I did, but I didn't. So I'm trying to make it to January.
Yeah, like at this point, no.
Yeah, it doesn't matter now. I mean, like unless I got terminally ill, I'm okay.
Yeah. And at this point, not to assume anything about you, but I would assume if anything went wrong, as far as like hospital bills, you could probably cover it just out of pocket for the most part.
Yeah, unless they're having an MRI or CAT scan, like unless it's something crazy.
Yeah.
If I broke my arm right now, I'd wait.
You know how to fix that.
I mean, it's going to fix itself.
I'm sure Tia knows how to fix it.
It might be in a weird spot, but it'll fix itself.
Yeah. It'll just never work again.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to re-break it when I go back in and get that. Sir, was this, what is it we call it?
Pre-existing condition?
Yeah, is this pre-existing? No. Just happened yesterday. Pretty sure it happened a year ago, sir. Nope, just happened yesterday. You grew back fast. We're bill. Yeah, so that was my story with him last night.
Yeah.
So it was. I'll tell you this. My day. It's been a long day.
I can tell.
Like I didn't even get out of bed until 8. I'm usually out of bed by. I try to do 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Today, man, I rolled out of bed by 8. Didn't shower. Went to work.
Just went to work.
I got there. I told him the story. I was like, hey, today's not. Other than that, we can pretty much get into everything. So hang on real quick.
Yep.
I don't want to rant in. 12-point logistics. So we hired people. So we're in growth mode. We're going to continue hiring. So think the first quarter next year, January, we're looking to bring more people. So in January, we'll have another evaluation process, interview process, trying to get people in the door. Do the second 12-point logistics training class, assuming all goes well with the first, which I'm okay. All right, from there, Ethan, line me up.
All right. So, a couple things. Suicide Squad came out. We talked about it a little bit last week. I watched it. I loved it. It is as James Gunn as either of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And that's good, in the best of ways. There are a few low points in this movie. For instance, I think they could have done a lot more with some of the minor characters. I kind of wanted. There were a lot of minor characters that. I mean, it's a Suicide Squad movie. It's rated R. People die all along. I wish we would have gotten a little bit more time with certain characters that weren't in the first one, so that we get a little bit more of a breakout. Suicide Squad in general is a celebration of these random characters that nobody knows.
Yes.
And that's the point. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy. James Gunn is really good at just making somebody that you don't know anything about interesting. I will say this. I predicted it in my own brain. I don't think I said it last week, but Idris Elba, he rocks in every movie he's in. He rocked in this movie.
So here's how you can tell who's a good actor. Who's the MVP of almost every movie they're in, regardless if they're the main actor or the second actor.
Yep.
That dude crushes everything.
Absolutely.
Hobbs and Shaw is not Hobbs and Shaw without him back out.
Yeah. And I will say this. I watched a couple movies here recently that I was like, oh, wow, that's a really good villain. And this one, okay, so remind me again how much you know about this movie, because you didn't finish it, which is sad.
Yeah, so, well, honestly, I'm going to rewatch it a few times.
Yeah.
But I made it to the John Cena
in his underwear. Which is hilarious.
And I might have made it a few minutes after that, but it's really hard to break that from my...
Yeah. So, so the main bad guy is, I think it's in the trailer. It's like the Starfish, right?
Yeah.
The Starfish is a very interesting character in the comics, and in this movie, you're not siding with the bad guy, but you're sympathetic to the bad guy because of the circumstances of which take place. So it's really cool. I really enjoyed it. That first opening scene, oh my gosh. And okay, spoiler warning, we're going to get into it because it's the first scene of the movie. So if you don't want to hear it, I'll put a timestamp in the center of the screen to skip to for you to miss these spoilers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everyone dies. Holy shit!
And, so just think about this: the first 10 minutes of the movie, you have hilarious comedy. You have the introduction to new characters.
All new characters.
Yeah.
Except for Flag.
Yeah, and
yeah.
And they all get killed in a mystery way. Like, you don't know what's about to happen to the rest of the movie within the first 10 minutes. Then you learn real quick what's about to happen.
Yeah. But what's interesting to me is it did put me into like, oh shit, anybody could die like immediately. I didn't expect Harley or Flag to die because they're the two number one, like, from the first movie at least, they're the ones that got brought back. They're the ones that are probably going to stay. Yeah. The fact that one of them dies before any explosions or gunfire is even happening is hilarious to me. So again, we're already in spoiler mode. So Weasel dies, which I was kind of sad about. I wanted to see him do something interesting. But it is what it is. Exactly. I don't think weasels can actually swim, so that's funny.
Hilarious. It was like, oh, this weasel will jump. He can't swim. Oh, he can't swim. Oh, he's gonna drown because he can't swim.
It was just like, oh, what did you expect?
It's such, in a wrestling psychology mindset, it's so simple that it works.
Yeah.
Like, why overthink that? Why overanalyze it?
Something else, I was hoping Savant would last longer. I'm sad that I get it. Savant is
the old man with the long hair?
Yeah, long hair. Okay. Yeah. That opening scene with him though, with the bird, with Johnny Cash in the background, oh my god, that is good writing. Yeah. And I will say this, something stylized that I like, I think I mentioned this to you, is that it's almost like it's comic books. They're broken up into sections, kind of like in like a scene selector for a DVD. You always have like that title of the scene. I'm pretty sure every one of the scenes, or like it's a series of scenes, is named. So like the beginning, it's like the Suicide Squad, and then you think that's like a title card.
Yes.
And then
I see what you're saying.
And then later it's like 3 days earlier.
Yes.
And then you're like, okay, it's just setting it up. but it keeps doing that for like throughout the entire movie. It'll have a break where there's no motion, not a lot of motion, and it's a setup shot, and one of them's like Operation X.
Yes.
I won't say it because it's a spoiler for you. And then later on, or like in the same scene, that same frame, it like somebody says something and then it has to change, and it blows away, and then it reveals what it actually is, which is awesome. But again, like it's one of those comic booky sort of things, because every comic book, at least like serialized for the same story, has its own, Amazing Spider-Man 31 is Spider-Man versus the Green Goblin, Goblin Strike, or something like that, And this movie has all of that, which is awesome.
What I thought was really cool, and I don't think you might know this, but like put the titles or the little subtitles, not on the screen, in the movie.
Yeah, it's diegetic. It's like the music. So Baby Driver is the prime example of that. Okay. Edgar Wright does it a lot. Okay. But something that's diegetic is in universe, essentially. But it's usually something that only either the main characters can see or we can see as our audience.
Right.
And yeah, like again, that Operation one is in smoke and fire. And once it changes, it goes from the fire to smoke, and you figure out what it actually is.
The present day one, once it goes from storm the beach, messed up, then it goes 3 days.
Yeah.
The present day is like the on the beach, it's written out in the sand, and it goes away.
Yeah,
it's
awesome. So awesome. Again, it's those details that, for me as a film guy, like I love that shit. It's artistic. It shows an attention to detail in a sense, really.
Yeah.
But man, and you kind of get a little bit of this. You need to watch literally like the next scene after where you were. Just John Cena and Idris Elba have such a good chemistry as like dicks to each other. And it's freaking hilarious the entire movie. You need to. You should. I'm trying to think of. To me, best character of the whole movie is either Polka Dot Man, which I wasn't really expecting. I thought he was kind of a creep, and then he has a good arc. But then King Shark, dude, King Shark is goddamn hilarious, and I love every scene that he's ever. Bird.
Off the microphones. Off the walkie-talkie. And Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. And I didn't really notice that it was like, there are a few lines that he says and I'm like, oh, that's Stallone.
Yeah.
But the scene of him reading the book, he's like, old gods, I read about book. And John Cena's just like, the book's upside down. He's not reading. He's pretending to read. It's so good.
Great character.
I will say this. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but Bloodsport's mask, the like helmet that he has, is probably one of the coolest helmets I've ever seen.
That's it. Right?
Yeah. It's almost like a xenomorph like skull at the bottom, and then just like a clear black gloss. I mean, that's basically what Snake Eyes is, right. Essentially, and it's really cool.
It's a little bit better job.
But yeah, it's a good movie. If you've seen it, you're probably going to agree. And again, it's not like the best DC movie ever. It's not. It's leagues better than the first Suicide Squad.
Great question. What is the best DC?
Here's the thing. It depends on what you mean. Do you mean
old school?
Okay? Do you mean DCEU?
Yeah,
this
I'm talking the
universe,
the DC version of Marvel.
Okay. I would probably say it's Justice League Zack Snyder. Like the Snyder Cut. Like that, it's just good. And a lot of people disagree with me. That's totally fine. You can disagree with me all you want.
Yeah.
But I can pick out plenty of things about the Snyder Cut. Not even, you can leave out the original. If we're having this conversation, I don't think you really need to bring up the old one, because it then muddies the water. Yeah. In my mind, you drop the Whedon cut and you just put the Snyder cut where that is, and you're good.
If I was DC, I would literally move from the library.
Yeah.
It's the same movie except that.
Mm-hmm. 100%. And other than that, I would say Wonder Woman too, but not the second one. Wonder Woman also.
So I would switch.
Really?
I'd do Wonder Woman. It's not
Okay.
I love the first one.
It's so good. Like,
it's the best female-led superhero.
Absolutely. And Gal Gadot is probably the best cast of all of them. I think they're just as good as Marvel in terms of casting. There have been some missteps, like Jared Leto as a Joker. I didn't really like it.
I didn't mind the second version of him.
Yes, in the Snyder Cut, because Snyder knew what he was doing.
Yes.
And yeah, like, you're not... I think with time, Jared Leto realized, okay, I went overboard. And I think he didn't come out and say, okay, I swallowed my pride. I'm going to do it like the director probably wants me to. But with their first Suicide Squad, like, it was such a clusterfuck of a movie anyway. Like, I don't think necessarily it was all Jared Leto's fault.
If he would just bought and played more of an original Joker, he would have.
Oh yeah, 100%. And the Joker we got in the Snyder Cut, I would definitely watch that one because it's definitely more interesting having a Ben Affleck versus a Jared Leto Joker than. And I love the Joker, but it's not necessarily part of the DCEU, unless it is, which is the weird. Like, that's the weird part about DC. They're very DC to Marvel is like so. Marvel has its very good cast of characters. It has a lot of teams. It has a lot of solo characters too. But Marvel's a lot of team ups and then fighting between teams, like Civil War, which is every superhero versus every superhero, and then X-Men versus the Avengers. Like they're really good at that. And then the galactic like scale of shit. DC, however, is really, really, really good at multiverse theory stuff. And Marvel does that too, sure. But I would argue DC is better at it.
I feel like Marvel's about.
Oh yeah,
Maybe the Loki deal.
Loki. Did you watch Loki?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But and then Doctor Strange's next movie is literally called Multiverse of Madness. I mean, come on. And that'll be good. A lot of people dropped off of Marvel, and that's fine. But yeah, back to DC. DC is really good at multiverses. So if in some way the Batman and the Joker both end up being in the same universe, and they're both in the DCEU as far as like, Flashpoint is coming up where we're going to have the Flash going into different universes with Michael Keaton as the old Batman. Oh man. Are you upset by Flashpoint or are you excited?
I'm so excited.
I've heard some things that some people are getting a little gun shy with it. They're like, this may not be as good as we think.
There's a problem. Who cares if it's going to be good or bad? Just get excited for the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And then after it's over, decide.
Okay.
Like a lot of people decide prior to the movie what it's going to be, and then that's where they skew it so much.
Yeah, I can see
I've done that.
So here's the thing, though. I think if they're doing Flashpoint correctly, the way that Michael Keaton comes in is not he's still the '89 Batman. He's actually what's Bruce Wayne's dad? He's not Bruce Wayne, but he's whatever Bruce's dad's name is. I always forget. But so in Flashpoint, Thomas, yeah, he's Thomas Wayne as a Batman. Because in the Flashpoint comic, I'm going to go into this real quick, not to rant, but in the Flashpoint, he goes into an alternate universe, and he ends up in the Batcave with the help of Batman, using, I think it's called the Cosmic Treadmill. It's so silly, but it's a device that the Flash can run so fast. He goes through dimensions. He lands in a dimension in the Batcave, and he's like, "Batman, where are you?" And then Batman jumps out, starts attacking him, and he's really confused until he finds out it's actually Thomas Wayne who's become Batman. And instead of his parents dying, Bruce Wayne is the one shot in Crime Alley all those years ago. Thomas becomes Batman, and Martha goes crazy and becomes that universe's Joker in the Flashpoint dimension. And so things happen. Flash eventually has to go back, and that's where it ends. But if they hold true to that, that means Michael Keaton's playing a Thomas Wayne, which leaves out who the actual Batman is of the original. It could be Ben Affleck. What? Yeah. Yeah.
So, Jeffrey Morgan?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That was in Rampage the Rock. Also played the bad guy in Walking Dead.
Okay, yeah. I love that guy. He was in Supernatural, which is like one of the first things I saw him in.
Yeah.
And back when I watched Supernatural, he was a really good character.
Fantastic actor.
Oh, yeah.
But has that same voice in every movie.
He's just the same guy.
Yeah, which is cool, dude.
Yeah.
That role's perfect in a lot of movies. What I've heard is that Affleck is going to be the main guy.
Okay.
Right? And there will be a Michael Keaton, obviously. That's known.
Yeah.
But the surprise, potentially, could be that Thomas Wayne's version of Batman is Jeffrey.
That'd be awesome.
Because he was Thomas Wayne
In Batman Begins. Yeah, he was. Oh my gosh. I forgot about that. Oh, man.
Yeah, bro.
DC is very messy because of the Christopher Nolan films.
Sure.
It's hard to like if you're just a lay person that you haven't seen Batman since '89, and you're like, okay, maybe I should probably catch up on all these. You've got Christopher Nolan's movies, which are masterpieces.
Yes.
Like, arguably, 1 is the weakest, 2 is the strongest, 3 is in the middle. To me.
I would break that down.
Yeah.
And it's a steep difference between 2 and the next one.
No. I would say it's a steep difference between 3 and 1.
I'll say steep.
I think 2 and 3 are pretty freaking good. I think 1 is only struggling because it has to set up so much. It's like a Spider-Man movie. You have like Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, the middle, the Andrew Garfield ones.
Yeah.
They weren't as good because they kind of just retreaded everything. And then Homecoming comes out and you're like, oh, we skip all of that. We skip all of the Uncle Ben dies and he gets the power. You skip all that. You're good. You get right to the part you want.
Right.
Batman or Spider-Man. You just get to it. Anyway, so to me, I would love to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan as a Thomas Wayne again.
Even if you just play Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, I don't care if it's like it doesn't have to be him as Batman in the Flashpoint universe or whatever. I just want to see Jeffrey Dean. I like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He's a good actor. He was the comedian in Watchmen. The Zack Snyder Watchmen.
I've never watched Watchmen.
It's really good.
But I saw on they did this thing on HBO where it's like kind of movie and they take one of the stars and they pick their favorite movie.
Yeah.
And it scenes. And the Watchmen movie was in Cena's.
Yeah.
It was also in Zack Snyder.
Well, yeah, because it's one of his.
But yeah, so I probably need to check that out.
Watchmen is good. I think if I remember correctly, it wasn't originally supposed to be a DC property. It's like it's its own little thing, right? But I think I've seen like where I've definitely seen Dr. Manhattan fight Superman in a comic book. So I know it's DC held. There's something weird with that. But yeah, that movie's really good. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's.
So we've talked about some good things.
Let's talk about the bad. Well, here's the thing. It's only terrible because of one aspect of it. And that's Space Jam: A New Legacy. It's such a stupid subtitle. I hate it.
So
let's start with the bad. And we both agree on this, right? The worst part about the movie is every scene with LeBron. Yeah.
So here's what I'm just going to go ahead and say this out front. Listen, the first one happened in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
Next one happened in 2021. Probably 2000. So let's call that, what is that, 26 years?
Yeah.
Okay. You had 26 years to lock down one person on the stupid movie. One person. The only reason why this movie was even successful in the first place. One person. You have one person to go after. One single person in the universe to go after in this movie. and you grab the only person that has his name that's not even his color. No, he is his color, but he's not even in the same genre.
For those of you who are lost, Michael Jordan should have been in this movie, even if it was just a cameo. I would have loved to see Michael Jordan again, and then all the Looney Tunes be like, "Oh my gosh, it's the guy that we helped out last time." Because it's like I thought for like the first half of the movie they weren't going to reference the first one. Like it's just the Looney Tunes. It's like there was a hard reset of the Looney Tunes when they became digital, if that makes sense. Like working in my brain, they're now digital cartoons, so they don't remember 1994 necessarily.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't remember Michael Jordan. But then they literally say, "Wow, this sounds really familiar." Helping a famous basketball player play basketball? Wow, we've done this before, haven't we, guys? And I'm just like, oh, so they remember. And then Silva, I do like the joke of him going and trying to find MJ. Like Sylvester goes out in the crowd and finds Michael Jordan, and it's like this whole buildup, and it's just Michael B. Jordan. I like that. But if you're gonna do that, at least get the real MJ. The airness is what they call him.
Yeah.
Which I love. If you're gonna do that, get the real guy as like a fake out. Like, just do it for the fans, because that's what you're working on here. Kids love Looney Tunes, but they can watch Looney Tunes at home on HBO Max.
Well, let's talk about this. How many kids know Michael Jordan is unless the parents tell them that they're between the ages of 5 and 30?
I would argue if they like basketball enough, they know who Michael Jordan is.
So they don't like basketball, they just want to watch this cartoon.
I don't think any kid would necessarily know.
So let's call it between 5 and 8.
Yeah.
Probably LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how you just don't go after Jordan. And I don't understand why there wasn't more Looney Tune promotion prior to the movie. You know who Marcus knew zero about? Bugs Bunny, other than Space Jam.
Yeah.
The original one. Before we ever watched this. Any of them. All the Looney Tunes. Didn't know one of them.
Yeah.
Who's this? What's up, dog? That's what he thinks it is. He knows
oh, no.
Yeah, he goes, what's up, dog? It's Doc. What's up, dog? It's Doc. So these kids don't know Looney Tunes. So that's one reason why it was good.
Yeah. Because
they're playing for us.
It really is going for like our demographic. 20s. Anybody over the age of 20, I would say 18 to 30. You're that's your audience. That's your target audience, and you failed. Because, here's the thing: it's not even about politics for me. It's just LeBron being LeBron is not interesting to me. MJ being MJ in the first one isn't even that interesting either. But you have to remember for the first one, which I haven't seen it. I just saw a lot of snippets of it, watching videos, reviewing it. But you have to remember, in the first one, it wasn't just MJ that was affected. It was MJ and then like every like famous basketball star at the time, like Charles Barkley, and that's the only one I think I know other than that. But was Shaq in the first one? Okay.
Shaq's in the it's like called Old School or something.
Yeah.
It's like old guys.
Yeah.
But that one I'm pretty sure it's like Spud Webb, I believe, Patrick Irving, Charles Barkley.
But there's a B plot with those characters that they've lost their mojo and they're having a crisis.
Yeah.
And somebody put it very, very, very well about how this movie is inferior to the first one. In this one, LeBron has a problem and has to go find the Looney Tunes. And it's kind of clunky and it's kind of shit. In the first one, the Looney Tunes have a problem and they find MJ. MJ's not necessarily all about it up until he realizes I should probably help.
Yeah.
And that's what differentiates this movie from the first one. The first movie had MJ in it, but it wasn't about MJ. It was about Bugs Bunny. And you know what's good? Anything about Bugs Bunny. Like, any movie is better than... Any Bugs Bunny related thing is better than anything LeBron can do. No offense, LeBron. I mean, I'm just being honest with
you. The only time LeBron was decent in the movie was when he was
Yeah. And here's the thing. I loved his son. That story between him and his son, it makes sense. I can see where that is supposed to go. However, I would argue if they flipped it and his son was the main character instead of LeBron, it would have been a better movie. Follow me here. The kid makes the game, and LeBron doesn't give a shit. But something happens, and the kid ends up on the wrong side, and LeBron is being mind controlled by algae or whatever, and the kid has to get help from Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes to beat his dad at basketball. And then he uses the power-ups and all that to give him an edge and puts him over, and then LeBron realizes, wow, this game is actually pretty fun, even compared to normal basketball.
Right.
And then end the movie, LeBron makes up with his son, they have a good, heartfelt, game-winning end, and then everything ends. What? MJ?
Exact same story. Exact same thing. Except when the kid goes to Bugs to get help from the tunes, they go, hey, we got it.
Absolutely.
MJ comes in.
No. It's in during halftime where there's the MJ fake out.
We found it.
I still think you have the fake out because it's funny. To me, Michael B. Jordan being like, oh, I'm not like that's funny.
In the first time, like before the game.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we found it. We got it. He's here. Boom. Halftime. All right, guys, we're gonna kill it.
We're getting killed out there. What do we do?
But we finally found it.
And then Sylvester walks in. I know I fucked up the first time.
Yeah, I've got it this time.
Yeah. I just and hindsight being 2020, maybe there were contract limitations, like LeBron can't be the bad guy. I can see that stuff happening. And that's what sucks, because I feel like, I think I texted this to you. When I was watching it, I was just like, this movie doesn't make me like LeBron. I don't like him as a person already, but if you, I can shut my brain off and just watch a movie. I don't like LeBron in this movie. I like the kid way more, and gonna be honest with you, right before the game, when the kid comes out, I'm like, I kind of want the kid to win. And I get that's kind of the point, like, oh, you see both sides, but you also don't want the Looney Tunes to die. But at the same time, you're like, LeBron's being a dick.
Yeah.
He's being a total asshole. And I just don't get behind it throughout the entire movie. And again, everything cartoon, especially like going to find all of the Looney Tunes, was awesome.
Yeah, like
Granny being in the Matrix was probably the funniest to me. I was hoping somebody would be in Harry Potter world, because like they literally fly past it multiple times, and then LeBron ends up in a Hufflepuff uniform. Like, why not just go there? Have some fun with it. Yeah. But they don't. I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah, like the Batman thing was cool.
Yeah.
Like, I like that.
Yeah.
But,
the referential humor was funny. One that lost me was Rick and Morty. And I like Rick and Morty. Yeah, I think it's a funny show. But I feel like putting Rick and Morty into this movie was just like, hey, we're the new guys. Like, hello, fellow children. Do you like Rick and Morty in this Looney Tunes movie? It doesn't make any sense. All the references at the end were pretty cool. Like King Kong is in the background, Iron Giant is. What's funny to me, and somebody pointed this out, was you see all these characters in the background and you recognize all of them. But they're all like background characters of those characters,
Yeah.
Like the Pennywise, you can tell it's not Bill Skarsgård. Agent Smith, you can tell it's not Agent Smith. Yeah. The only one that was close was the Ice King from Game of Thrones.
Yes, and then there was a Robin that looked like he was literally a 1980s cosplay version of
Yeah.
Robin.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But I will say this, and something that made me really happy was after watching this movie, I realized I loved a better movie. There was a better Looney Tunes movie after Space Jam. Looney Tunes Back in Action with the man himself, Brendan Fraser. And it's hilarious. If you here's the thing.
They come to the real world?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like Marcus would love that movie, by the way. Yeah, it's a good movie. I really like. That was one of those movies that my grandparents had like a 5-disc DVD player, and like it was like Harry Potter 3, Looney Tunes Back in Action, Finding Nemo, Lion King, and then whatever somebody else wanted to watch.
Yes.
Like every other movie was me, and that was like I just watched them on repeat. Yeah, it was just a staple of my childhood was watching that movie on repeat because that's what kids do.
Marcus will watch a movie, literally watches it.
How many times have you seen Godzilla vs. King Kong?
The trailer, 1 million times. The movie, probably 20.
Yeah,
But it's only out for a month.
I know.
That's included theaters.
Yeah. But no, here's the thing. Actually, kind of a good segue. Brendan Fraser. I need to send you this because I don't know how you feel about Brendan Fraser, but he's one of those actors that I feel like didn't get enough of a shot. He got The Mummy, which probably made him millions. He got George of the Jungle. He got a lot of semi-good movies, but he never shot out to like Leo status or anybody in the same time frame. He went under the radar. He did Looney Tunes Back in Action, to be fair, which I mean was a decent movie to me, but I don't think it did very well in the box office. But he's making a comeback. Like he evidently got a divorce. She took all of his money. She took all of his time because of the divorce, and he just couldn't get back into acting. Now he's doing I think a Scorsese film with De Niro, Leo, and somebody else. And he was doing an interview with just like a TikToker or something. Maybe she's actually like a actual interviewer. Yeah. But they were doing a webcam interview. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm so excited. I'm getting to work with Bob. I'm getting to work with Leo. I'm working with Scorsese. I'm really excited for this." And she's like, "Well, I just want to let you know that the entire internet is behind you, and we're so glad you're coming back to acting." And you can see him like, he like takes a drink, and he's like this the entire rest of the interview. He's still talking, but you can see like it really hit him that like people actually are in his corner. Because you can, again, that guy went through some shit. Like kind of like Matthew Perry from Friends. Like they just got dragged through the mud. And it wasn't even like the acting world. It was literally just their personal lives got in the way.
Yeah, he went from Shred City.
He really was.
To like very out of shape.
Yeah.
Like
sad.
Years.
Yeah, he was aged 30, but he looked 60.
Yeah.
Like it was bad. And it's one of those things where there's a lot more people nowadays that are looking at these lower actors. But they're weeding through all of these shitty people. Like Leo is cool, but he also has this activist side. Mark Ruffalo is really good as a Hulk, but he's got this activist side. And then you've got Matthew Perry, Brendan Fraser, Matthew McConaughey. You've got these actors that never really shot. I mean, Matthew McConaughey is the exception there, I guess. But these two actors and a lot of other actors, I would say, that didn't really break out, never had a really hit role, that the internet is just like, you know what? We like these guys. And their movies evidently are doing freaking great. I think, I'm going to be 100% honest with you, whenever Johnny Depp does another movie, especially after all this Amber Heard bullshit, whenever he does another movie, it's probably going to break the box office. And I mean, so, I hope so. I actually want it to be Pirates of the Caribbean, but I want it to be Johnny Depp in the lead role because he should be. And Amber Heard should lose her job on Aquaman 2, and it should be given to Emilia Clarke because she's a better Megara or whatever her name is. I never saw Aquaman.
Okay. Back to the casting.
Yeah.
Real quick. Jason Momoa is a great.
Arthur Clarke.
Just doesn't look anything like Aquaman.
Well, yeah, because when you think of Aquaman in the animated show, he's a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. Which, again, here's the thing: when there are certain picks for acting, that I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. Because there's a lot of this bullshit about like, oh, here's a white character that we've got, let's make it black. I don't care for that. But Jason Momoa as Aquaman kind of just makes sense to me.
Oh, I'm not. I didn't hate it.
No.
I like Jason Momoa.
Absolutely.
There's some points where I wish people would keep the originality of like what it was.
Yeah.
There's that side to me, then there's that side that's like, Oscar makes something. So I see that, I 100% get it. One thing that frustrates me a little bit is when, say, a white actor tries to play
Oh no, that wouldn't happen. It would. Best case is ScarJo and Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Ghost in the Shell is supposedly supposed to be Asian characters. Here's the thing about anime though. Japanese people don't see they see themselves as different, obviously, from white people, sure.
Yeah.
But when they make characters like that, they're not. They don't care about race, not in terms of like white versus Asian or anything like that.
Yeah.
Now, say they're Mexican or a darker skin tone. That's when you get into this is obviously the race of this character. But with Ghost in the Shell, especially with ScarJo playing that character, it doesn't matter. It's just a person. And especially with Ghost in the Shell, I don't know if you've really done anything with it. It's a pretty good series. If you wanted to figure out like a decent anime to watch, it's very adult. It's very good. You have no interest.
Never in my entire life sit down and watch
Anime time.
No, there's a lot of things I do. That's not.
Yeah, but what's funny about that whole thing is like the whole point is Ghost in the Shell is like human bodies are not. You can unplug yourself and plug yourself into another body. Like it does not matter what color you are. You can be any color you want. You can be any gender you want. It's a perfect society for these liberals. Anyway,
if you kill somebody, it's okay. But if you're black and you play a white person, well, hold the phone. That's not real. Well, it's not acting. None of it's real.
Yeah.
But you're acting.
Here's the thing: if you wanna make an all black movie if you want to do a Hamilton as a movie, go right ahead. It does not matter. Yeah, I loved Hamilton.
I do. And now I will say that's the one thing I never thought I'd ever like. Thoroughly. I watched like all 5 hours.
It's a solid Broadway show. I actually kind of want to go watch it. There are definitely songs.
But I did listen to the George Washington song.
Guns and Ships.
Whatever the one where it comes in with George Washington.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Yeah. Anyway, we went a little bit longer than I thought we would.
What were we at?
57 minutes. Not terrible. Anything else?
Hamilton County.
Oh yeah.
So Hamilton County, that is Chattanooga. So Hamilton County decided today in their school readiness preparedness 2.0 plan. Their 1.0 plan, I guess, came out yesterday.
That's so funny to me.
They are requiring their bus drivers and their teachers to always have their mask on. And kids have the option to opt out via parent signature. So it's better than saying, hey, you have to wear a mask. I agree with that. I still think we need to go more on the, if you want to wear one, wear one. If you don't want to wear one, vaccine. I don't understand why that's such an issue.
Let people do what they want because it's their freedom to do what they want.
Yeah, well, the problem with that is, Moderna and Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer spend a lot of money on the vaccine. Until X amount of people take their vaccine, they're going to show a loss.
I mean, the vaccines are being given out for free. Those companies already got paid by the U.S. government.
Right.
And every world government that bought the vaccine. So it's not really like, oh, God, no. Oh, jeez.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. What would you like to say?
Yes, conspiracy time.
Conspiracy time. Everything said after this moment until we say otherwise could be fake, could be real. We don't know.
I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
I'm not a financial advisor or a doctor, so this conspiracy might be wrong.
Skip to this this timestamp if you want to skip this. Joke's on you. You're not skipping it.
So, I don't know names off the top of my head, but I did see this. Remember when the president of Haiti got assassinated?
It was the president of Haiti, I think, somewhere in the African, well, like the Gold Coast, and somewhere in Argentina.
So there was a total of, I believe, 6 or 7 assassinations /
There were assassination. I know of 3 assassinations that went. Well, no. They weren't suicides. They were confirmed assassinations.
Okay, so then there's 3 suicides, 3 assassinations.
Wow.
And 1 attempted assassination.
Okay.
This is where
yeah.
Each one of these countries
said no.
The only countries that say no to the vaccine.
Yeah.
Call me a conspiracy theorist.
Let me be your devil's advocate. Because you know me, I'm as skeptical about everything as you are, including skepticism of the vaccine. What if it is because the president said, hey, we don't want the vaccine, no thanks. It's not necessarily the cabal, whoever is at the very top, saying, oh, assassinate those guys. It's just one person of their country is just like pissed off enough. They're crazy enough. They're liberal enough that they want to kill the president because they think the president's doing a bad job. Now, the suicides, however, are a different story.
Well, if that was the case, we'd have no president.
You probably shouldn't have said that. I just don't feel like... are we? We should probably...
There are countries that presidents are doing a bad job. One of their country doesn't approve, so they take it into their own hands to eliminate that person.
I'm just going to say this. We've had 3 of those things happen, and nothing really came good of them doing that. I'm just going to say this. I think everything would have been better if Abraham Lincoln and JFK would have been still alive.
First of all, if that mindset was in place, Trump would have been killed, Obama would have been killed, Bush would have been killed.
Here's the thing. I just don't think I would argue the last 7 years, since 2016, the last 5 years, yes, because we've been at such a boiling point. Now, we're at way more of a boiling point now. We're at each other's throats every single day since the election. So, even before this decade, we've been at each other's throats. It's not looking too good. But I would argue the years before Trump, I don't think we were this heated. So I don't agree with you on that.
Well, we weren't this heated in the media because you can't be racist.
I don't...
Do you know how many people hated Obama just because he was black?
Oh, yeah, a lot.
And
there was a shit ton.
You know how many racist or absolutely batshit crazy?
Technically all of them, right? I would argue all of them.
I think everybody's about 5% racist. But...
yeah.
Yeah, so...
I'm Asian. I'm 50% Asian, so that means I'm like 25% racist.
So I would say that...
Obama, only to other Asians.
Yeah, Obama getting out within 8 years is very impressive.
I don't agree, but I see where you're coming from. I get this route of logic. Sure.
Well, think about Bush.
Oh, Bush definitely probably. Here's the thing: if there were assassination attempts, unless they were like in broad daylight during a speech, we probably wouldn't find out about that. I don't necessarily think. Here's the thing about like the Secret Service and like all of these, the FBI, the CIA. If something bad is really happening that doesn't necessarily change the paradigm of our lives, like say a failed assassination attempt, I don't think we would hear about it. I don't think anybody in those, not to say that the FBI, CIA, the Secret Service are either good or bad. It's just, does this really matter? No. Now, if it happened, well, duh, yeah, we would need to know that our president was just assassinated. But if there's a failed attempt, You don't want to come out and say, "Oh my gosh, there was a failed attempt on the president's life. What are we gonna do?" You don't want to faint. You don't want to seem like you're scared, because then people are just gonna keep doing it. You know? Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I was not cognizant during that. I did not. I I did not. I did not have a consciousness at that point in my life, but I do remember seeing like things afterwards, and people were just like, "Oh my god, there was a shoe thrown at Bush." He was on point. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get off. Well, that's it, man.
Yeah, we're good.
That's episode 7.
Got any plans this weekend?
No.
No. I don't have any plans. We should do something this weekend. Yeah. Maybe. I'll bring it with PS5.
All right, guys. That was episode 79. 817 subscribers. We got 1 month left to go. Push to get this thing to 1,000. Let's become YouTube partners. Let's go to Spotify and listen to all the best routes up. Go check out the old shows too. Let's go over to Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Let's leave a review. Let's listen over there. Let's go over to YouTube. Let's subscribe to that notification. Let's do that. And then we'll talk about this next. We've got guests coming up for the next 3 weeks, I believe. One of the guests will be all returning guests. Chris Baumick from Echelon, with one of his buddies whose brother is a current NFL head coach / Super Bowl champion. Bringing a little bit of some hardware in to the show. The other guests are number 1 ranked light heavyweight, or number 1 ranked heavyweight in state of Tennessee in MMA, Forrest Finney, and also the principal or athletic director. Regardless. Slide Daisy High School, our good friend Jared Hanson. So he's going to come in and kind of talk about county stuff, school, all the different obligations, requirements. We're going to catch up with you guys. So that's it. That's where we're at. I've got 2 shows in September. I've got a show the first Friday for Southern Honor in September 17th. A wrestling super show with all the promotion in Georgia at the actual and before the Tap Out podcast. That'll be fun. Sure. All right, that's it.
No, that's good.
All right. See you guys next time.